All right, so we have a client who is a very popular consumer packaged goods desserts company, e-commerce, and we had a test where we were trying to answer the question, what if we removed Quick View from our collections pages and instead drove folks to PDPs? So this was a bit of a bigger swing of a test, as you can imagine, taking the Quick View experience out of collections pages. Our hypothesis was we would see more folks flowing in through the PDPs, and having more folks stop at PDPs in their shopping journey may give them more information that will make them more likely to convert. So this is what we were testing. Got a breakout here of our control. Everyone here should be pretty familiar with a Quick View shopping experience, but in case you're not, on the collections page, when you hover over a product tile in the control, it is a quick view, which expands kind of a side cart that gives some product information and the ability to add to cart right from that screen. Our variant tested removing that quick view experience, and if you clicked on a product tile, you then instead were taken straight to the PDP. So, any questions here on what we were testing? And I would also love to get folks' thoughts on which of these two they think performed best. Our primary metric here was add to carts, but we were also obviously very interested in tracking the lower funnel metrics like conversion rate, purchases, and revenue per visitor.
In the V1, how does one get back to the previous view? Just going back in the browser versus like the little Xbox?
Yep.
Okay.
Great question.
Tom, are you able to share the average number of items in a checkout or something along those lines, even if it's just by gut, not an actual true average number?
It's just over one.
Okay.
Yeah. So folks are, their customers are typically buying one product. Although interestingly, they do have a subset of their audience that buys multiple products, usually for gifting purposes. But yeah, this was for everybody. So it was on mobile and desktop, and it was on all of their collections pages.
Sorry, what was the primary metric again, Tom?
Add to carts.
Yeah, so in terms of where I'm leaning, I'm going to align with Saring, thinking that your variation one, mostly because the photo is larger and the headline is larger. The button seems to be about the same size, but the photo being larger would be good.
I want to say the control one, because if I'm here, I'm trying to compare.
Okay.
It's a lot more difficult to compare jumping back and forth to the PDP.
Great points all around, really.
I actually think that B1 won for add to carts, but then lost at total checkouts. And so it was like primary metric one, but down funnel results were negative, because I think more people would be enticed to click through, but they might still be like conferring or like thinking about what they want, and it could end up being a distraction. Plus, not being able to close out could end up like you're kind of messing, I don't know, with users' intent, I think.
Very interesting.
Tom, what was the experience the same for both of these variations after a user added to cart?
Yes. Another great question.
I know somebody asked it, but why are there more buttons on the variation? More like menu buttons?
This is a PDP. So
oh, right.
Yeah, when in the control, when you click quick view, this expands. You're still on the collections page, and it's just kind of that side cart. On mobile, it takes up the whole screen.
Yeah.
But there, you know, to get to the PDP, there's this learn more button here, and then our variation, again, just pretend that there's not a button there. You know, you would just click the product, and it would take you to the PDP of the product that you clicked.
I was just going to ask about mobile, and it sounds like you said mobile, it basically looks the same, except you have an additional click to get to the product page.
Yes. Yep. Basically, this side cart is the mobile experience in control.
I love how many questions there are about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a big difference in the user experience. So it was interesting to see the results. I think we should probably take a vote now, unless there are any other pressing questions.
We should ask more questions. Like, come on, let's keep it going. No.
Okay, so everybody, let's take a vote, please. Thumbs up if you think
Variation.
The variation won. Thumbs down if you think the control won, and flat if you think it was flat. It looks mostly, it's not, okay. All right, pretty even, actually, pretty even. I think what's even more rare than the interesting results of this test is that Kara's intuition was actually off, and it was the reverse effect. So
I almost said I think it's the opposite of what Kara said, for what it's worth. But
you didn't
Sure
say
you
that,
did, Drew.
Drew.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew.
but yeah, that was the case. It was really interesting results here where we saw add to carts actually take a big hit in our variation, but the lower funnel metrics weren't really impacted, which is super interesting. It does make sense intuitively if you think about, okay, you know, in the control where we have the ability to, Layla, to your point, have the browsing still be part of that experience, and add to cart is super easy right there. It makes more sense why we saw more add to carts in the control. And then for the variation, we're adding another step for folks, and making it, you know, harder. There's some friction before they can add a cart there. They're being taken to a whole new page. But the fact that the lower funnel metrics were flat tells us those folks who did go to the PDP in the variation were actually converting at higher rates than the folks in the control, which is super interesting. So yes, there was some drop off in terms of we added friction for adding to cart, but for the folks who did make it to the PDPs and did add to cart, they were continuing through the rest of the checkout process at higher rates, less leaky checkout there. And this led us to an iteration test, which we are hopefully going to be launching soon. And the hypothesis here is, okay, we don't want a 6% hit to our add to cart. So let's then think about testing, pulling in some of that additional information from the PDP onto the quick view side cart screen. The hypothesis here being those folks were leaking less from the funnel in the variant because they did have that stop point at the PDP where they were getting more information. We were giving them assurance about scheduling delivery 30 days in advance, et cetera. So we're going to test adding that information to the side cart. And we'll keep you all posted on the results that we see here.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to have more test ideas sent right to your inbox.